Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm happy to be making videos again, trying to get back into car content here. I had someone that requested a specific video and I have been meaning to make a review of this product. So today we're gonna dive into the Motion Raceworks steering column for 11 to 14 Mustang S197, basically the new Fox body these days. So I'll go over the price, go over what I think of it. Obviously the car is super empty right now, so I can get to everything, show you where everything is, how it works, and how the install was. So first off, the price for the steering column itself without the steering wheel on the Motion Raceworks website is $474.99. With a regular just black steering wheel, the one that I have, total is $589. So about 600 bucks, you can get a lightweight steering column. Yes, there's some things that has to be modified, and I will go over that. How I modified it, other people have done it different ways. You can go more race car with it, a little bit less race car, more street car-ish. So I'll go over how I did that and kind of my thoughts on it. Okay, so first off, here's how it looks on the inside of the car. Obviously just all black steering wheel here. It's a little bit smaller than the regular steering wheel. It has a good feel in your hand though. It's very good quality leather. Nice black metal here with the motion plate in the middle. You could customize this to a different one if you wanted to. I know there's a couple other people that make a special plate there. So you could do something custom there. It just has a strange quick disconnect on the back there. So you just pull that lock and collar and it comes off real easy. It came nicely greased, so it's good and smooth every single time. You can see just some leftover in there. I usually put mine just up here on the front, and you'll see what's left over here. So the way I have it set up, this shroud, I just modified this shroud. I will go into exactly how I did that, but you can see it looks somewhat stock, but it does kind of spin a little bit in place. So you can still push down and it will activate the blinker, and then it kind of has to shift all the way to the right, and then you can activate the one to the right side. So a little janky, but it was pretty much free. Just had to modify it myself, and then I got that to work. This just kind of screwed in, and I did get the key to work right where it was. Obviously the car has no battery and it's very dead right now, but the key does work. You can turn it without any issues, and it looks decently clean and tucked up in there. Okay, let me go over next how everything on the inside of the engine bay went, if it fits with the exhaust header, stuff like that. So thankfully my car has no engine in it right now, so here's how it looks. Mine is hooked up with the factory steering rack, so I still have the controls for comfort mode, race mode, however you can tighten and loosen up the electronic steering from inside the car. That all still works. So they give you the adapter, they give you this piece here, this joint, and this all comes from inside there. And there's a little plate that blocks off the firewall area here too. So the way that works is this part here bolts on the inside. This comes through. This little locking collar gets tightened down on the beam that comes through. And then there's a part here where you can either screw this in or you can just get it welded, which is what I did. I just got it welded just for safety, for peace of mind, just to make sure that this wouldn't ever spin out of this here. So yeah, two different ways there. You could just put a screw through it and get that totally screwed down, or you can just weld it. But yeah, I just got it welded. This part here that bolts on, so you can always remove this part and then you can pull off the steering rack from there. And this does stay pretty well tucked. Like you'll see it's close, but it does not hit the frame rail here. And I have been able to fit long tube headers. It goes right down in there. Yes, it's tight, but it does work. So with my Gen 5 Whipple, long tube headers, all that kind of stuff, that all worked perfectly fine with this here, and linked up to the factory steering rack. So there's that part. Okay, so next up I'm going to show how this piece comes off, and I'll show you how I modified stuff behind there. I also didn't want to forget that I have the digital cluster in my car. It's the way it came. So I just have the cord for the controls just hidden down here. So I start up the car, I just pull this down, click through that button, gets the digital cluster back to showing all the numbers for IATs and cylinder head temp, stuff like that. And then I just tuck this thing back down underneath there, and it looks decently clean. So hey, it's kind of janky, but that's pretty much the whole build. So let me see if I can figure out how I got this piece in here. It's gonna have to have a couple things unclipped, but I will show that in just a moment. Okay, so here's the next step in the process. Pulled these cords totally down. So you'll see that this is the mechanism for the steering wheel that tells it whenever you turn all the way to the side, it looks like your blinker off. So that has to stay in there because the cords for the buttons are attached to that. So I just had it tucked up here on the left side. It does fit. And I just had the buttons from that up in this section right here. So then the next part, there's a zip tie right here that's holding the ignition portion, words, and it's holding it in to the far right. That way it doesn't fall out of this little section. So I'm gonna cut that off and then we'll start slowly getting this out. Okay, so next part, you'll see the zip tie is off and this little starter or ignition part pops out of that section. Then this whole shroud will slowly start to come out. And this is where the tricky part begins, because there's a clip for this portion here that's right back in there. So I got to get that clip off, and then I'll pull this whole shroud out, show you how I modified it to get it to fit. Okay, so I'm just very carefully reaching my hand on this back left portion here, and I just kind of snuck it in there and got this clip off, and it is pretty hard to get, but once that clip comes off, then this whole shroud should just kind of sneak out. There we go, just like that. So here's what's left over. You'll see here's the key assembly. Also, you have to have this back portion, the safety PATS system, hooked up. If you don't, the car will not turn over. Figured it out a hard way. I literally have it zip tied here to the steering wheel in 2 sections, and then here's the clip for the blinker assembly here on the left side. You can see a little bit more the cords. Here's this big part that I just had hidden up here on this top left, and then I'll show you here how I modified the shroud. Okay, so here's the shroud as I had it before I put it in the car. So you'll see this plate here that comes from Motion. Comes with these screws, just pop them in. And you'll see in the back they're just screwed into the plastic there. Okay, so next off, this blinker portion comes with a circular shroud thing that goes onto the steering wheel on the stock format. This is basically a cut section here and then screwed into the shroud. So there's 2 screws, one on the top, one on the side here, and you'll see kind of in the back there that other screw, and then it's cut. You see here the piece for the blinker. It's cut in the bottom part here and on the top part here, and it just makes that very small portion that has the clip and the blinker and like literally the bare essentials for that part. And then it gives space for the steering rack to go through there. If you don't cut off the extra portion here, it interferes with the steering rack and it will not fit in the car. So that's why that got cut. There is no going back after you do this. Definitely cannot go back to stock after that. But that's how I made it work. And it's a little bit janky, but it has function with the car. You just kind of have to deal with it slipping back and forth to the left and right a little bit. You could probably put a spacer in there next to the, like right here in the car, had a little spacer there and it fell out. I just didn't really put that much more work into it. But this is, I would say it's like the home way of doing it. Probably not the fanciest or most perfect way, but it does work and pretty much free. You just buy the stuff from Motion and then throw this in there like that. Okay, so to wrap up a couple things here, I'll just cover like why I did this and kind of closing thoughts on the steering rack itself. So I got the steering rack because I wrecked my car and it popped the airbag. So here's my airbag, product placement to MRL. And I now have a wall of all the different times that my car has had issues, from the old door, getting hit by a deer, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, this was the recent one. Airbag went off and I didn't feel like just replacing it. I was like, I want to upgrade and go from there. So I felt like getting the steering rack, shaving some weight, and I was kind of on the line at the time of like going more race car. Now I kind of go back to more street car, but this does still work for what I'm trying to do. So I would definitely be keeping this. When I weighed everything, stock steering wheel, the assembly that goes in there, there's a big metal assembly that attaches to the dash that allows it to move up and down, and that's a pretty heavy assembly. So total weight savings for the whole stock steering wheel and steering column compared to this setup was 13 pounds. So nothing crazy, but it is weight savings. And if you're trying to make a car that goes faster, hey, 600 bucks or so, you get a new steering wheel, you get a modified interior because of that. I had to pay a welder because I don't know how to weld yet to do this portion that's in the engine bay here. But definitely possible, and I would definitely recommend it. I think though there's a note to say of like, how far do you want to go with your car? Are you trying to have an everyday driver, or do you want to have like street car / race car? Just think about that before you go down any type of modification road with a car like this. So anyways, that's my closing thoughts. Thank you to Motion and everybody that helped me with trying to figure this out. It's been great. I highly enjoy it. I like how it looks on the inside of the car and how it drives. It's been pretty fun. Okay, I'll close the video out there, but I hope you enjoyed this review of the Motion Raceworks steering column with the Grant steering wheel. If there's something else that you want to see that I already have on my car and you want to hear how it was installed or what I think of it, please leave a comment down in the comments below. I really enjoy this car, and I'll probably be modifying it for the rest of my life and probably be buying lots more products for it. So I hope to share some of those thoughts and help you guys if you're doing something similar, because I have a passion for this, and I'm sure that if you're watching, you probably have a passion for it too. Thanks, hope you have a great day.